let's get into this. We're talking to Michael Pazner, a favorite liberal from Los Angeles, California, former talk show host himself, and people are now McCain's been put on the back burner. He is not exciting. The party doesn't really like him, but now they're all excited about Palin. It's almost like she is the presidential candidate, and he's the running mate. And they're comparing her experience to Obama's experience, and they're saying, this is the big chant now. What experience does he have? She has more experience to be president than he does. But as you look at it, what is your analysis?
Well, again, it's just subjects that take an hour in and of themselves. But basic overview here is, and this is my favorite statistic in the last couple of days, I was just blogging somewhere and saying, you know what, she sure has more college experience because all he did was go to Harvard and graduate at the top of his class. And meanwhile, she actually has a lot more college experience than that because she went to 5 different colleges in 6 years. None of the colleges by what do you call it?
Neither were Division 1A or neither were an Ivy League school.
No, and by privacy laws, the colleges are not allowed to say what her grades were, how she did, or why she transferred. But
it's a journalism BA she has, right?
Yes.
Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. That prepares you to be president, journalism BA?
And you're running against, so you're trying to compare that experience to a guy who graduated at the top of his class in constitutional law at Harvard.
There you go.
And I'm sorry, people look at the guy and go, he's an elitist, which I think that's a very hollow, very flimsy argument.
He has one house. Okay, it's what, $3 million? But look at what McCain has.
Can we even count his houses on our hand?
All multi-million dollar. I mean, when you look at elitism, the Obamas look like Ward and June Cleaver. I mean.
Well, the funny part about that is that about 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, he was accusing Obama of being a rock star, and he was doing it in a supermarket surrounded by, it was like in the cheese aisle.
Yes, where he declared, Mike, that he was lactose intolerant, my friend, so please don't stand too close.
Oh, hey, Mike, you've got a fabulous asset there with that voice. That's terrific. That's a good imitation of him. But the thing that the Obama campaign didn't put out, and one of these days I need to run a presidential campaign to show them how it's done.
Yes, let's do that.
But they never put out anything about the fact that he was standing there talking about how elite Obama was and what a rock star he was. But McCain was standing there wearing $500 shoes.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was born into privilege with a father that was military but also political, because when you reach that status of being such a big hotshot admiral, you're super wealthy and super connected.
Didn't he go on to be wasn't he a congressman after the military service?
Yep. So it was basically the whole silver spoon.
When you compare lives, I mean, there's no comparison. Obama had to scratch his way up. He had supportive grandparents, but he had it rough when he was younger. But getting back to Palin, because, pretty much they've swept McCain under. He's really not an issue, and I got a feeling for the rest of the campaign, as far as the Republicans go, they're going to push this dame first.
They may. The interesting part is that if you're comparing her running of the state, her administrative experience, versus Obama, and that's an argument they're trying to push. Yeah. It's interesting to note that she also, on that level, has more experience than McCain, too.
Yes, when you want to compare that. But let's face it, that little town of several thousand she was mayor of, how hard who did she run against? What was the competition like? And then how hard was it to manage that thing? And there's less than 1 million people in the whole damn state. So how hard is it being governor of that state?
If I'm not mistaken, it's 600,000 in the state or 700,000 in Alaska.
Yeah.
Either way, that's barely twice the amount of the city of Green Bay, Wisconsin.
There you go.
I mean,
and I know there's quite the cheesehead too.
And it's like that's a town of maybe over 100,000. So you're looking at maybe 3-4 times that amount. But still, it's not like it's Chicago or Los Angeles or New York.
What kind of decisions did she have to make? Now, Obama was the guy who voted against the Iraq war. Let's not forget that. That is credentials, isn't it? He made a tough decision, that had to do with the security of this nation.
The thing
and
about
he's
it is,
proven out to be correct in his vote. And you know this pinhead would have voted for it if she was in Congress.
The thing of it is, though, Jeff, is he's been on the Senate floor, and he's had to deal with these other politicians, the big boys, if you will, you know.
That's
and he's had to go toe-to-toe with them, and that, to me, is experience.
Of course it
Wait
is.
a minute. This is backwards. I need to take the conservative opinion to make this argument interesting. You guys are making my argument, for crying out loud. But not only that, not only the Senate floor, but you got to, and I need to pull, I haven't done it yet, and I haven't done it since that guy got flabbergasted on one of those Sunday morning talk shows where they said, name one bill that Obama has passed. And I believe one of the big ones he did was ethics reform, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
That was a huge one, and then there were a couple other ones that you look at it and you go, you know, the bills he tends to vote for are big, sweeping, large change bills, or authors, I should say, are the bills that he actually writes. And so, and by the way, another thing that people seem to forget is he had 10 years experience in the state Senate. He was a professor of constitutional law at Harvard. It just goes on and on and on.
I mean, professor at Harvard there teaching. I mean, you know, you don't get that job lightly.
But listen now, I was a sportscaster up in Anchorage, don't you know?
I saw that. Wasn't anything to be impressed by.
Well,
it just
funny
looked
part is
good.
Olbermann was going to town on that because she at one point said that she wanted to work for ESPN, so he was like, he was rolling on the floor during the convention.
Well, it was like, but, you know, that would have required her to move to Bristol, Connecticut. And, well, we couldn't have that now, could we?
They don't let you shoot the wildlife in Connecticut.
I can't shoot anything there. It's all elitist people.
Have you seen that picture with her and the caribou that she shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God, that's scary. How could you put that out? But they do.
You know what the worst thing is, Mike? You stand too close to her, she's got the moose breath, you know?
Oh, man, from the moose burgers.
In serious need of a Tic Tac, eh?